Senator Chris Coons of Delaware is joining us. He's a key member of both the Foreign Relations and Judiciary Committees. Senator, first of all, you heard what the president just said. If North Korea continues making more threats, they will be met with what the president describes as fire, fury, and power, the likes of which the world has never seen before. When you heard that, what does that mean to you?
Well, Wolf, I was reminded that as a candidate, President Trump promised that he would be unpredictable and unconventional. And his first 7 months in office have certainly demonstrated that he's kept to that promise. I think this is a very dangerous moment. And it's important for our president not to be unpredictable. It's important for President Trump to tweet less and to coordinate closely with our regional allies, South Korea and Japan, and to carefully calibrate statements, threats, and actions. It's clear that the response from North Korea could impose punishing losses on South Korean civilians, potentially on American troops on the Korean Peninsula. And so I think we need to proceed very carefully. I'll congratulate the Trump administration on having secured a 15-0 vote in the United Nations Security Council last weekend and moving forward with tough sanctions on North Korea. But I think this is a time for us to redouble our diplomatic efforts with China and to make sure that we are coordinating closely with our regional allies to avoid a miscalculation.
But couldn't a statement like the one we just heard from the president actually provoke Kim Jong-un and others in North Korea?
Yes, absolutely. As was just discussed in this segment, North Korea is known for having an isolated leadership. Kim Jong-un is 35 years old. We don't even know his exact birthday. He's only been in control of the country since 2011. And he's given to very bellicose, aggressive rhetoric. And he's now, according to some intelligence reports, managed to marry their recent nuclear developments and ICBM developments with potentially an ICBM capable of delivering a nuclear weapon to the American homeland. This is a very destabilizing development, and I think we need to proceed carefully, and President Trump needs to deliver a clear strategy to the American people and certainly to his partners in Congress so that we can move forward in a way that is measured, thoughtful, and doesn't lead to an unexpected conflict with North Korea.
And you heard that he may have maybe 30 nuclear bombs already, maybe as many as 60, according to that U.S. intelligence estimate that was reported in the Washington Post. What number are you hearing lately, Senator? How many nuclear bombs does Kim Jong-un already have?
Well, I can only repeat to you open source reporting, which, as you've already covered, is somewhere between 24 and 50 or 60. In any event, they certainly have dozens of nuclear warheads, and they've detonated several in recent years. So I don't think we can question whether or not North Korea has nuclear weapons. The question is, can they accurately deliver them? And this makes it an increasingly destabilized Korean peninsula and region. And the likelihood that they could strike the American homeland makes this an extremely dangerous situation, and one where I hope the Trump administration will proceed cautiously.
The Trump administration says all options are on the table, including the military option. But realistically, Senator, is there a good military option on the table?
There is no good military option because North Korea has thousands, I think roughly 8,000 artillery and rocket pieces that are embedded deeply in the hillsides north of Seoul. They could exact a punishing revenge on South Korea almost immediately after a first strike by the United States. So there is no good or easy option here. A conflict with North Korea would not be quick and would not be painless. But we do have to measure the very real possibility that North Korea's dictator might directly threaten America's homeland and our civilian population. That's a very high threat level indeed. And I think this is exactly the sort of thing that calls for measured, careful, but decisive American leadership in the region.
The North Korean regime has promised retaliation against the United States. Do you believe Kim Jong-un?
I believe that Kim Jong-un is someone who believes his back is to the wall, who has been raised in a country where they have believed for decades that the United States would like to effect a regime change. And so I think this paranoid, militaristic, and capable young leader is someone whose threats we should take very seriously.
The Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, over the weekend, he was in Manila, in the Philippines, at this meeting of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. He pointedly did not meet with the North Korean foreign minister, even though the North Korean foreign minister did meet with the South Korean foreign minister, the Russian foreign minister, a whole bunch of other foreign ministers. Was it a mistake for the U.S. not to meet with them?
Well, I'm not sure exactly how Secretary Tillerson is proceeding on his diplomatic strategy with North Korea. My hope would be that we will later learn there were side meetings and that there are side channels being explored. At the same time that we prepare for a possible military confrontation with North Korea, it's my hope that we're continuing an all-hands diplomatic front in order to push China to take a more decisive role here in pressing the North Korean regime to take down its rhetoric and to step back from further confrontation with South Korea, Japan, and the United States.
Well, do you believe the U.S. should engage in direct talks with North Korea?
I think we should engage in direct talks as long as the possibility of their relinquishing their nuclear weapons ambitions is on the table for negotiation.
But they're not going to do that. You don't really believe they're going to give up their nuclear weapons program. They see that as their insurance policy for survival.
Well, I think they misperceive America's aggressive stance towards them. We've previously made statements that regime change is not our goal. Secretary Tillerson has recently made statements that we don't intend to invade North Korea, that we don't intend to seek regime change in North Korea. So I do think there are things we can discuss, but I also think that we need to be prepared for the worst. We need to recognize that North Korea is an isolated, heavily militarized nation that is paranoid and that sees threats all around it. Even China amping up its pressure against North Korea by joining with the United States and Russia in a UN Security Council imposed sanctions regime has not persuaded them to back off. So, Wolf, this is a very difficult and treacherous situation.
Yeah, we got to take a break, but I'll just point out to you what others have pointed out. The North Koreans watched very closely Muammar Gaddafi of Libya give up his nuclear weapons program. Where's Muammar Gaddafi right now? Where is his regime? They don't want to follow in that with that example. Senator, stay with us. There's much more developing right now in the breaking news. We'll be right back.
People would stare. Psoriasis does that.
It was tough getting out there on stage.
I wanted to be clear. I wanted it to last.
So I kept on fighting.
I found something that worked and keeps on working.
Now, they see me.
See me.
See if Cosentyx could make a difference for you. Cosentyx is proven to help people with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis find clear skin that can last. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting Cosentyx, you should be checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you've received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
Never give up.
See me.
See me.
Clear skin can last.
Don't hold back. Ask your dermatologist if Cosentyx can help you find clear skin that lasts.
This is Fracture. Just upload an image, place your order, and it'll show up at your door, beautifully printed directly on glass. And this isn't just another frame, not just another canvas. This is new. This is a Fracture. Visit FractureMe.com and print one today.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need or can't afford? Now you can sell your policy for an immediate payment.
We bought life insurance when our kids were young, to protect their future.
Our youngest just turned 40, and we no longer needed the coverage.
That got us to thinking about letting our policy go. So I did some research and called Coventry Direct. I learned that you could sell all or part of a life insurance policy, even a term life policy. Turns out, people have been selling policies like ours for the past 15 years. Who knew? We sold our policy. Now we have money to help with the medical bills.
And to add to our retirement.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may be a candidate to sell your policy. Call 1-800-382-9600 or visit CoventryDirect.com for a free information packet. 1-800-382-9600. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
I'm Phil Mickelson, pro golfer.
I'm Karen. I'm a teacher.
My psoriatic arthritis caused joint pain.
Just like my moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis.
And I was worried about
joint damage. My doctor said joint pain from RA can be a sign of existing joint damage that can only get worse. He prescribed Enbrel to help relieve pain and help stop further damage.
Enbrel may lower your ability to fight infections. Serious, sometimes fatal events, including infections, tuberculosis, lymphoma, other cancers, nervous system and blood disorders, and allergic reactions have occurred. Tell your doctor if you've been someplace where fungal infections are common, or if you're prone to infections, have cuts or sores, have had hepatitis B, have been treated for heart failure, or if you have persistent fever, bruising, bleeding, or paleness. Don't start Enbrel if you have an infection like the flu.
Joint pain and damage
Can go side by side.
Ask how Enbrel can help relieve joint pain and help stop joint damage.
Enbrel.
FDA approved for 18 years.
Oscar Mayer's making big changes to hot dogs. We went back to the drawing board and the cutting board. We removed the added nitrates and nitrites, byproducts, and artificial preservatives in all of our meat. Every single one. Why? For the love of hot dogs.
Vacation rentals? Search Home to Go Florida from $29, Texas from $45, Home to Go California from $34, New York from $37. The world's largest vacation rental search engine.
Home to Go.
Hey, on the internet. I know a bunch of people who would love that.
The internet loves what you're doing. So build a better website in under an hour with Go Central from GoDaddy. The internet is waiting. Start for free today at GoDaddy.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
Good breaking news this hour, an extraordinary warning by President Trump to North Korea, which U.S. intelligence now believes has a nuclear weapon capable of fitting on a missile, according to sources. We're back with Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. He's a member of both the Judiciary and Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, I want you to stand by. I need to go to our White House correspondent, Sarah Murray. She's in New Jersey with the president right now. Sarah, some extraordinarily strong words from the president involving North Korea.
That's right, Wolf, and we know that over the past couple of days, the president has huddled with officials about the situation in North Korea. They have made clear that all options are on the table, including the military option, and the president himself appeared to try to be getting that across today in a very stern warning to North Korea. President Trump issuing a sharp warning today to North Korea.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
The president saying dire consequences lie ahead if North Korea's nuclear threats continue. The warning coming as the president injects a dash of policy to his New Jersey retreat.
It is horrible what's going on with opioid and other drugs.
Vowing to combat the opioid crisis as Trump faces a credibility crisis of his own. 6 months into his presidency, just 38% of Americans approve of the job Trump is doing. 56% disapprove, according to the latest CNN polls. But it's clear the new president is already facing a credibility gap, with 60% of Americans saying they don't believe Trump is honest and trustworthy. Add to that, only a quarter of Americans say they believe all or most of the official communications from the White House, compared to 30% who say they don't trust anything they hear from the president's office. A series of questionable moves by the administration may only fuel American skepticism. Like this recommendation from Department of Agriculture officials to drop the term climate change and instead refer to weather extremes, according to an email obtained by CNN. The guidance comes under a president who has frequently questioned the scientific consensus behind humans' impact on rising global temperatures. But Trump has also faced scrutiny for his handling of classified information. On Tuesday, he retweeted a Fox News report based on anonymous sources who leaked the information. It declared, U.S. spy satellites detect North Korea moving anti-ship cruise missiles to patrol boat. This is what Nikki Haley, the ambassador to the United Nations, had to say about that issue.
I can't. I can't talk about anything that's classified, and if that's in the newspaper, that's a shame.
But the president apparently has no qualms about once again sharing potentially classified information. In July, Trump tweeted about a covert CIA program to arm Syrian rebels. After the Washington Post reported, the administration planned to end it. Sources say Trump also shared highly classified information with Russian officials when he invited them into the Oval Office in May.
It is alarming the casualness with which President Trump shares classified information.
Now, one of the things we have not heard much from President Trump about today is the Russia investigation, but his chief counsel, John Dowd, did a fascinating interview with USA Today in which he reveals that President Trump actually asked him to pass along his appreciation for the work Robert Mueller, the special counsel, is doing in the Russia investigation. Trump's lawyer said he did just that. Obviously, a very different tone going on privately between these two gentlemen than what we've heard from the president publicly. Back to you, Wolf.
Very different tone indeed. Very interesting. Sarah, thanks very much. Sarah Murray in New Jersey for us. Senator Coons, let me ask you, do you think it's appropriate for the president to be passing along these private messages through his legal team to the special counsel, Robert Mueller, as USA Today is now reporting?
That seems an odd choice, Wolf. I really think the best course of action for the president is just stay away from the Russia investigation and special counsel Mueller altogether. Allow him to conduct his investigation and to reach whatever conclusion the information, the evidence justifies. As I think you know, I introduced a bipartisan bill with Republican Senator Tom Tillis just before we went out for August in order to buttress special counsel Mueller and to make sure that a strong bipartisan signal was sent to protect him from any sort of interference by the executive.
Yeah, because your proposal, bipartisan proposal, would prevent Mueller from being fired by the president for all practical purposes. Here's the question, Senator. Have you spoken to your chairman, the Judiciary Committee Chairman, Chuck Grassley, about this? Do you have assurances that your committee will vote on this proposal?
We don't have a commitment yet from the committee chairman. Senator Tillis has reached out to Chairman Grassley. I've heard from Ranking Member Feinstein. She's willing to go ahead and support the bill, and I'm waiting to hear from Senator Tillis about how their conversation went. There's another bill, by the way, that Senators Graham and Booker also introduced right before we left that similarly protects the special counsel. And I think that suggests a widening number of senators interested in this topic and willing to legislate to protect Robert Mueller from any interference.
So you're leaving it to Senator Tillis to deal with the chairman, is that right?
So far, I do intend to reach out to the chairman as well. And given the way that Chairman Grassley has conducted himself in leading the Judiciary Committee, in pursuing obstruction of justice and pursuing some of the leads around failure to report for former senior administration officials, I think he is interested in acting to defend this investigation. The Judiciary Committee has jurisdiction over the Department of Justice, and the chairman has acted actively to make sure that the jurisdiction of the committee is protected, and I would expect him to ultimately come to a point of being supportive.
Senator Coons, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
The breaking news continues here. Red-hot rhetoric as the North Korea crisis clearly escalates dramatically today.